Why did 5 virgins run out of oil? The warning of Jesus about being ready. Have you ever been almost ready for something important, but not completely ready? Maybe you arrived at the airport with everything packed, only to realize your passport was missing. Maybe you prepared for an exam, but forgot the one thing you actually needed. Maybe you thought you had plenty of time, until suddenly, you didn't. Now imagine something far more serious. Imagine waiting your entire life for one moment, and when that moment finally arrives, you discover you are not ready. Jesus told a story about 10 women who were waiting for a bridegroom. 5 were wise. 5 were foolish. And the most frightening part is this. At first, you could hardly tell them apart. All 10 had lamps. All 10 were waiting. All 10 expected the bridegroom to come. But when the night became long, something was revealed. 5 had prepared. 5 had not. And Jesus wasn't telling the story simply to talk about wedding customs. He was talking about you. He was talking about me. He was talking about his return. And he was asking one uncomfortable question. Will you be ready when he comes? Matthew 25 begins with these words. At that time the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. That phrase, at that time, matters. Jesus had just been teaching his disciples about his return. He had warned them that his coming would be unexpected. He had told them to watch, to remain faithful, and to be ready. And then he gives them this story. 10 virgins. 1 bridegroom. 10 lamps. A long night. And eventually, a midnight cry. Here is the bridegroom. Come out to meet him. Think about that scene. It is nighttime. The village is quiet. The women are waiting. The bridegroom has not arrived yet. And eventually, they become tired. They fall asleep. That detail is easy to miss. All 10 fell asleep. The wise fell asleep. The foolish fell asleep. So Jesus is not saying that the wise were superhuman. They became tired too. They waited too. They experienced the same delay. They faced the same darkness. They simply prepared differently. And this is where the story becomes extremely relevant to us. Because sometimes we think being ready for Jesus means never feeling tired. Never struggling. Never becoming discouraged. Never asking questions. But that's not what Jesus says. The wise women were not different because they never became tired. They were different because they had prepared for the delay. And that may be one of the most important lessons in the entire parable. Because the Christian life is not just about believing Jesus is coming. It is about remaining faithful while you wait. You may pray and wait. You may ask God for healing and wait. You may pray for your family and wait. You may ask God for direction and wait. You may wonder why Jesus has not returned yet and wait. The waiting can become long. And when the waiting becomes long, something happens. Our excitement can become routine. Our urgency can become comfort. And our faith can become sleepy. That's why Jesus gave this warning. Not because he wanted his followers to live terrified, but because he wanted them to live awake. Now look carefully at the difference between the 10 women. Jesus says, the foolish ones took their lamps but did not take any oil with them. But the wise ones took oil in jars along with their lamps. The difference was preparation. The foolish had lamps, but they had no reserve. The wise had lamps, and they had oil. From the outside, they looked similar, but the crisis revealed what was inside. And isn't that true in life? You can look ready on the outside. You can have the right clothes, the right words, the right appearance. You can attend church. You can listen to sermons. You can know Bible verses. You can even tell people that Jesus is coming. But when the night gets long, when temptation comes, when suffering comes, when disappointment comes, when God seems silent, what is actually inside you? That is what the waiting reveals. The night doesn't create the character. The night reveals the character. And perhaps that is why God sometimes allows us to experience seasons of waiting. Because waiting reveals what we really trust. When everything goes well, almost anyone can say, I trust God. But what happens when the prayer isn't answered? What happens when the door doesn't open? What happens when the person you trusted disappoints you? What happens when your plans collapse? What happens when the future becomes uncertain? Can you still say, Lord, I trust you? That is the kind of faith Jesus wants to develop in us. Now let's return to the story. The bridegroom was delayed. The women became drowsy. They slept. Then suddenly, at midnight, a cry rang out. "Here's the bridegroom. Come out to meet him." Can you imagine the panic? Everyone wakes up. The lamps are being lifted. The women are trying to prepare themselves. And suddenly the foolish discover something terrifying. Their lamps are going out. They turn to the wise women and say, "Give us some of your oil, our lamps are going out." But the wise answer, "There may not be enough for both us and you." And then they tell them to go and buy oil. Now, why is this part so important? Because Jesus is teaching us that some preparation cannot be borrowed. You can borrow someone's Bible, but you cannot borrow their relationship with God. You can listen to someone else's testimony, but you cannot borrow their faith. You can grow up in a Christian family, but you cannot inherit your parents' relationship with Jesus. You can sit beside a faithful believer for 50 years, but their faith cannot become yours simply because you are near them. At some point, your relationship with Jesus must become personal. You must choose him. You must surrender to him. You must repent. You must believe. You must follow. Nobody can do that for you. And Jesus is warning us not to wait until the last moment to discover that. Because the story continues. While the foolish women went to buy oil, the bridegroom arrived. The wise women went in with him to the wedding banquet. And then comes one of the most serious sentences Jesus ever spoke in a parable. And the door was shut. The door was open. Then the door was shut. There was a period of opportunity. Then there was a moment of finality. The foolish women returned. They cried, "Lord, Lord, open the door for us." But the bridegroom answered, "Truly I tell you, I don't know you." And then Jesus gives the warning, "Therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour." This is where the parable becomes deeply personal. Jesus doesn't tell us when he will return. He tells us to be ready. And there is a difference. Human beings love dates. We want schedules. We want predictions. We want signs. We want to know exactly when. But Jesus repeatedly directs us away from date setting and toward readiness. You don't need to know the day. You need to know the bridegroom. You don't need to know the hour. You need to be prepared. You don't need to predict his arrival. You need to live faithfully until he arrives. And that changes the question. Instead of asking, "When is Jesus coming?" perhaps we should ask, "Would I be ready if he came today?" That is a much more serious question. If Jesus returned tonight, would you be at peace? Would there be anything you have been refusing to surrender? Is there someone you need to forgive? Is there sin you keep protecting? Is there something God has been asking you to leave behind? Is there a relationship that needs reconciliation? Is there a calling you keep postponing? Is there a prayer life you have neglected? Is there a Bible that has been closed for too long? Don't answer for somebody else. Answer for yourself. Because the parable is not about identifying the foolish people around you. It is about allowing God to examine your own heart. David prayed, "Search me, God, and know my heart." That is the right attitude. Not, "Lord, show me who is foolish," but, "Lord, show me where I am unprepared. Show me where I have become careless. Show me where I have become proud. Show me where I have become spiritually sleepy. Show me where I have allowed the world to become more important than you. And then, Lord, change me." That is preparation. Preparation is not panic. Preparation is relationship. It is walking with Jesus today. It is praying today. It is obeying today. It is forgiving today. It is loving today. It is repenting today. It is serving today. It is trusting today. Because tomorrow is not promised. And the return of Christ is not something we should use to frighten people into religion. It should awaken us to grace. Think about this. The bridegroom is coming. That is not only a warning. For those who love Jesus, that is wonderful news. The bridegroom is coming. That means suffering will not last forever. Death will not last forever. Pain will not last forever. Injustice will not last forever. Grief will not last forever. The tears you have cried are not the final chapter. Jesus is coming. The King is coming. And he is coming to gather his people. So the same message that produces urgency also produces hope. Be ready. But don't be ready because you are terrified. Be ready because you love the bridegroom. That's the difference. Christianity is not simply waiting for an event. It is waiting for a person. Jesus. The one who died for you. The one who rose again. The one who promised, I will come back. And if he promised it, he will do it. Maybe you're listening today and you feel spiritually tired. Maybe you've been waiting a long time. Maybe you've prayed for years. Maybe you've wondered, Jesus, how much longer? Remember the 10 virgins. The night was long for all of them, but the bridegroom still came. The delay did not mean the promise had failed. The silence did not mean the bridegroom had forgotten. The waiting was part of the story. And your waiting may be part of your story too. Don't throw away your faith because the night is long. Don't extinguish your lamp because the answer hasn't come yet. Don't give up because God hasn't moved according to your timetable. Keep watching. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep walking. Because the bridegroom is coming. And when that midnight cry finally comes, there will be no confusion. No more guessing. No more waiting. No more questions. The King will be here. So here's the question I want you to carry with you today. Not tomorrow. Today. Why did 5 virgins run out of oil? Because they were waiting for the bridegroom, but they were not prepared for the waiting. And Jesus is warning us. Don't make the same mistake. Don't prepare only for the moment you expect. Prepare for the delay. Prepare for the temptation. Prepare for the difficult season. Prepare for the unanswered prayer. Prepare by walking closely with Jesus now. Because one day, the midnight cry will come. Here is the bridegroom. And when that moment arrives, the only thing that will matter is whether you are ready to meet him. So keep your lamp burning. Keep your heart awake. Keep your faith alive. Keep your eyes on Jesus. The bridegroom is coming. And for those who are ready, the night will finally become morning. Amen.